O Almighty and Eternal God, we come before you with humble hearts, seeking a united spirit. Direct our paths with the boundless wisdom of your greatness, and open our spiritual eyes and ears to see and hear your truth. Grant us the grace to understand ourselves and the times we live in, and strengthen us not to pursue only what we desire, but to fulfill the duties you call us to with unwavering faith. Help us, O Lord, to see the goodness in others, to honor the individuality you have placed in each person, and to practice tolerance, expecting no more of others than we are willing to give ourselves. Preside over our deliberations, O Lord, and grant us the wisdom to choose rightly, the courage to act justly, and the steadfastness to carry out your will. In all things, may we be guided by your light and love. Amen.
Bayang magiliw, perlas ng silanganan, alab ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisiil, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong pughaw. May dilaghang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal, ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning. Ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng luwalhati't pagsinta, ko'y langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya ng pag may malapit, ang mamatay lang dahil sa'yo.
Please be seated. Good morning, De La Salle University. All right. So, good morning. My name is Sam Thurman, and I will be your host for today. So, first and foremost, it is such an honor to be back working with Manila Bulletin, and specifically to be hosting the third edition of the Manila Bulletin Sustainability Focus Session. Now, just quick show of hands. Okay, easy question. Number one, who here is familiar with Manila Bulletin? Come on. Okay, very good. Now, who here naman is familiar with Manila Bulletin's Sustainability Forum? So this is something that has been happening very regularly, every year almost. I've been fortunate enough to be part of the last two years. But anyone, have you had the chance before to participate? Okay, wonderful. So we have a lot of first-time participants here today. That's such a great sight to see. Now, for those of you who don't know, which is apparently most of the students here in this room this morning, so that's wonderful. This event stemmed from the successful Manila Bulletin Sustainability Forum that has been going on for the last 3 years. So, brought to you today by the Manila Bulletin, it creates another platform and brings it closer to the future champions of sustainability with an emphasis on specific topics. And for today, our specific topic is, can anyone give me a guess? It's literally right here behind you guys. So, anyone? All right, on three. Sabay-sabay. Nobody's shy. All right, 1, 2, 3. Financial literacy. All right, there we go. So, financial literacy is something that gets talked about a lot, no? But I think looking at it from the frame of financial literacy and sustainability, how that complements each other is a very good topic that we will be discussing today. And as somebody who works actually in the financial industry as well, I'm also very interested to hear what our speakers have to say. So today we are privileged to be joined by some of the country's most respected professionals from both the public and private sectors. So again, we're very, very grateful to have all of you here with us this morning, our future sustainability advocates. And today is going to be a discussion. So aside from the speakers, we also have a panel discussion later. So if you have any questions, listen intently and feel free to ask them later on. Aside from that, aside from getting all these amazing insights and knowledge and information, you also have the chance to take home some amazing prizes, guys. So all of this is courtesy of our featured brand partners through our raffle draws, which will happen at the end of both our morning and afternoon sessions. So, what do you have to do to participate? Just make sure that you all registered outside at the registration table, all right? So, I take it everybody's already had a chance to register? Yes? Good? Okay guys, pwede pa magkape. Okay. We have a very, I'm sure once we get started with all our speakers, we are going to be a little bit more lively because our topics are very interesting. So again, just make sure that you've registered, alright, to be eligible for the prizes that we will be giving away at the end of this morning's session. So, without further ado, let's go on and dive in and begin learning about financial literacy for a sustainable future. So to open this year's discussion, let's hear some words from the Manila Bulletin Publisher Secretary, Herminio Sunny Coloma.
Good morning. Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. In behalf of the Manila Bulletin, it is my great pleasure to welcome you all to today's Sustainability Focus Session, our continuing dialogue on how responsible choices in the way we live, work, and spend can help all of us shape a more sustainable future. Our theme, Spend Smart, Live Wisely, captures the heart of sustainability. It reminds us that every decision, what we buy, how we consume, how we manage our resources, has an impact not only on our personal lives and well-being, but also on our communities and our planet. As the nation's leading newspaper and exponent of Philippine progress, the Manila Bulletin believes that sustainability is not just a corporate commitment. It is a citizen's duty. By spending smartly, we reduce waste. By living wisely, we ensure that future generations inherit a world of balance, abundance, and opportunity. We are honored to have with us today thought leaders from government, business, and civil society. I'd like to greet especially a longtime friend, Monetary Board Member, Secretary Ben Jokno, who will share insights on how sustainable lifestyles and responsible enterprise can go hand in hand. Their voices will help guide us toward an economy that is both prosperous and conscientious. To all of you, our partners, panelists, and participants, thank you for joining us in this meaningful conversation. May today's focus session inspire each of us to turn awareness into action and action into enduring change. Again, welcome to the Manila Bulletin Sustainability Focus Session. And together, let us spend smart and live wisely. Thank you and good day.
Thank you very much, Sir Sunny. Alright, now folks, to give us a general overview of what to expect for today's focus session, let's all welcome the Manila Bulletin Sustainability Events Co-Lead, Mr. Philip Cuonyen.
Thanks so much for the applause. I used to study here in Talasal College, no? So Taft Avenue, sila brother Andrew Gonzalez, sila brother Rolando Dizon, there were people I actually looked up to, and brother Bernie Ock actually was a few years away from me, no? So it's a welcome sight for me to be sort of like walking through this campus again, and I welcome the opportunity to have Manila Bulletin be a partner with La Salle University in this endeavor, putting this financial literacy talk together. We've had this forum, as Sam mentioned, over 3-4 years now, and some people sometimes ask us, why do we continue doing this? No? And so for me, the basic thrust of why we're doing this is to really talk about sustainability within the context of making it real for you guys as students, and for you to see it as a framework for what your future should be like. And I think that's very important, especially now in the context of what we're seeing happening now. I think a lot of you guys will be joining the November 30 March, and you know, sustainability has always been about 3 basic agendas, no? The environmental agenda, the social agenda, the governance agenda. And I think nowadays we see really the importance of the third. Now the governance is really something that's very important for us to be cognizant of and to realize is something that should be very taken seriously. You know? So I'm hoping as part of this, and especially in the case of financial literacy, it's really talking about future-proofing yourselves and arming yourselves with the right knowledge, because that is the battlefield today, that's knowledge. You know? If social media has democratized information, at the same time it's also made truth elusive. Because let's face it, there are as many versions of truth as there are members in the Senate right now. No? And so for us, it's part of you guys arming yourselves with the right knowledge to be able to face the future properly. So hopefully you'll be attentive during the whole day in terms of the talks that will happen, and we welcome again the opportunity to be here with you guys today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Philip. Now, before we proceed to our first keynote speaker, we actually have a very special message from someone who, as Philip mentioned, is also a champion of good governance and also financial literacy. So we're very privileged and honored to have him, although he couldn't be here with us today in person, we are still very privileged and honored to have him send over a video message. So at this point, we'd like to hear a special message from a public servant, a former youth leader, and an advocate for financial literacy for young people. Let's all welcome Senator Bam Aquino. Please, watch this.
Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat sa Manila Bulletin Sustainability Focus Session. Si Senator Bam Aquino po ito. Unang-una, maraming salamat sa Manila Bulletin para sa oportunidad na kausapin kayo ngayong araw. Sa harap ng lahat ng krisis na kinakaharap ng ating bansa ngayon, at bilang lingkod bayan na may responsibilidad sa taong bayan, tumitibay ang aming paninindigan at pagpapahalaga sa integridad. Sinusubok man tayo bilang isang bayan, buo ang ating loob, nihatid ang tulong at serbisyo na nararapat sa bawat Pilipino sa pamamagitan ng ating trabaho sa Senado. May tungkulin po kaming pangalagaan at siguraduhin na ang pera ng bayan ay mailalaan para sa bayan. Leadership with integrity is critical in handling our nation's money, at sisiguraduhin po natin na ang 2026 budget at mga susunod pa ay mga budget na tutugon sa pangangailangan ng nakararami. Kailangan po natin ang inyong suporta. Kaya patuloy po kayong magsalita, makialam at kumilos, at asahan niyo po na may kakampi kayo sa Senado. Kasama niyo kami sa laban para sa isang mas inklusibo, mas makatao, at mas sustainable na kinabukasan. Muli po, maraming salamat sa inyong lahat.
Thank you very much, Senator Bam, for taking the time to deliver a video message for everyone here today. Now, without further ado, I think it's about time that we go ahead and kick off today's session. So let us welcome our esteemed keynote speaker. He is an appointed full-time member of the Monetary Board for a 6-year term and served as the Secretary of the Department of Finance. In 2022, he was honored by The Banker, a Financial Times-owned international finance publication, as Global and Asia-Pacific Central Banker of the Year for steering the BSP through the COVID-19 pandemic and driving the banking system modernization. So, let's all welcome on stage the Monetary Board member of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, Mr. Benjamin E. Jokno.
Secretary Sunny Caloma, Publisher, Manila Bulletin, Brother Bernard Oka, FSC, President of De La Salle University, Dr. Nelson Dilian, Assistant Dean for External Affairs, Philip Kuniang, co-lead Manila Bulletin Sustainability Events, Jordan Tan, Business Development Manager, Manila Bulletin, esteemed guests, members of the Academe, dear students, ladies and gentlemen, magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. I'm deeply honored by the opportunity to deliver this keynote address on the third Sustainability Focus Session organized by our friends from the Manila Bulletin. The theme, So Spend Smart, Live Wise, financial literacy for a sustainable future, is not just timely, it also directly relates to the day-to-day lives and experiences of Filipinos. The ability of our people to make informed financial decisions, including managing financial obligations, has never been more valuable. Now, to put things in perspective, let me start by showing macro-level data on household savings in the Philippines. It's the first time we've seen this. Our people at the BSP has not seen this yet. Now, household savings as a ratio to disposable income shows a declining trend, particularly after 2009. That's the red line. What explains the decline? This is primarily because of the slowdown in overseas Filipinos remittances to about 4.6% annually from 2010 to 2024. From a high, used to be 50.4% between 2005 and 2009. The PSP's Consumer Expectation Survey also indicates that only around 30 to 40% of households receiving remittances, only 30 to 40% of those receiving remittances save part of this income, while the rest primarily use it for consumption. A substantial portion of this income growth is also directed towards immediate consumption, same quarter, needs rather than being saved. So compared to our Asian peers and Japan, which is not shown here because Japan is way up there, the Philippines' gross saving rate remains the lowest in the region. Gross savings accounted for only 19.7% of GDP in 2024. Compare that to Vietnam's 36.7% and Singapore's almost 40%. So that's the macro situation. This gap stems from several factors such as weak household saving habits due to robust consumption. We love to buy, to consume, rather than save. Modest income levels, limited access to financial instruments, and relatively low financial literacy. Recognizing this, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas has long embraced financial inclusion and literacy as part of our core advocacies. Currently, gaps still remain. According to the BSP's own Financial Health Index, Filipinos only scored 58 out of 100, indicating their vulnerability to day-to-day financial shocks. 58 out of 100. In addition, the World Bank reported that 9 in 10 adult Filipinos struggle to raise emergency funds within 30 days, 9 out of 10. But we know that access alone is not enough. Financial literacy is needed to turn inclusion into true financial health, meaning that Filipinos should have the proper knowledge and confidence to use their money wisely. Improving financial literacy in the Philippines remains a work in progress. According to a 2023 OECD survey, Filipino adults scored 58% in overall financial literacy, 58%. That's 2 percentage points lower than the global average. Furthermore, there's a huge gap between the Filipinos' intention to manage their finances and their actual financial behavior. Based on the 2021 Financial Inclusion Survey, 80% of adults report planning ahead financially, 80%. And 66% set long-term goals, so 80 and 66. Sadly, only 46% consistently maintain a budget. Less than half maintain a budget. These numbers give us a clear message. We still have a lot of work to do. But we have made progress. The volume of retail payment transactions in digital form increased to 57.4% in 2024 from only 14% in 2019. The most recent data showed that 56% of Filipino adults had a formal transaction account in 2021, up from 29% in 2019. So the BSP is actively collaborating with government agencies, private organizations, and development institutions to expand its reach and bring financial education closer to the Filipino people. One such example is our partnership with the DepEd to integrate financial literacy into the curriculum of basic education. This program also extends to the professional development courses from both teaching and non-teaching professions. From classrooms to farms, from barracks to homes abroad, from public offices to private enterprises, we make sure that financial education is accessible and relevant to everyday life. Together, we have reached millions of students, teachers, farmers, fisher folks, civil servants, uniformed personnel, and overseas workers, empowering them to make informed financial choices. This highlights the difference we can make when we work together, share our resources, and align our efforts. Over the years, the BSP has built a rich library of financial educational resources. Beyond the usual audience-specific modules and educational videos, we have developed interactive games with the help of our institutional partners. One such game is called Fish and Learn, a simulation game developed for fisher folks to promote both the importance of sound financial habits like saving and using debt wisely, as well as marine conservation. We make sure these lessons reach everyone by utilizing both face-to-face learning and online interaction through the BSP e-Learning Academy and social media campaigns. These resources are the backbone of our financial education programs. We're also empowering Filipinos in the digital age. BSP organized campaigns like Check, Protect, Report, or CPR, to teach consumers cyber hygiene. We roll out programs like Paleng QR PH to promote cashless payments in public markets and local transportation like tricycles. We also supported the development of an automated fare collection system for the MRT. And we conducted digital financial literacy sessions to help people stay vigilant against scams and fraud. In today's fast-paced, technology-driven world, financial literacy also includes knowing how to safeguard your finances from cyber threats. In closing, let me emphasize that financial literacy is more than just personal empowerment. It is a foundation for sustainable development and economic stability. People who are financially literate save more, use credit responsibly, and invest in their future. This pattern of behavior reduces household vulnerability and improves the overall financial health of communities. True financial health is not only about the ability to pay your bills today. It means building resilience, achieving long-term goals, and feeling secure and confident in financial decisions. Now, before I end, let me extend my gratitude to the Manila Bulletin and De La Salle University for organizing this event and sharing the BSP's advocacy for financial literacy and sustainability. As stewards of the financial sector, we at the BSP, together with its partners, is determined to prepare every Filipino, particularly the poor, in making sound financial decisions. Because for every Filipino we educate financially, we lay a strong foundation towards a more resilient and sustainable Philippines. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Board Member Jocno, for taking the time to join us today. Sir, if I could ask you please to stay here on stage. And at this point, may I also call our Manila Bulletin executives to join Board Member Jocno. So we have our Publisher Secretary, Sunny Coloma, our Business Development Manager, Mr. Jordan Tan, our Head of Branded Content Group, Ms. Irish Lorenzo, and our Manila Bulletin Sustainability Event Co-Project Lead, Mr. Philip Cunyeng, and our Brand and Marketing Manager, Mr. Leslie Arawi. Alright, so Leslie's here, okay. Thank you very much. Sorry, one more? Are we okay? Okay. All right, and at this point, we would also, we actually have a token of appreciation from the De La Salle University for Board Member Jocno. So I believe this is it. So this is a token of appreciation for being here today, this morning. Thank you very much. So a round of applause, please. And thank you very much also to our academic institution partner, the De La Salle University. All right, thank you very much, everyone. You may take your seats again. Thank you. Now, at this point, I think it's about time that we go ahead and start today's insightful talk. So, let me go ahead and introduce our first speaker for this morning's session. We've gained some insights into the efforts and plans of the public sector. So now it's time to hear from the private sector, starting with HSBC. So HSBC is a brand that's been operating in the Philippines since 1875. And for the company, sustainability means embedding environmental, social, and governance considerations into financial decisions to promote long-term growth and address climate change. So through the company's various sustainability initiatives, HSBC has received the Euromoney's Award for the Philippines Best Bank for Sustainable Finance in 2025. Today, specifically, we are joined by a respected leader in his field. Our speaker has been working within the ESG and sustainability space for over 9 years now. He provides support and insight to enable sustainable finance strategies, as well as provides feedback in partnership with risk and compliance on ongoing policy developments and external engagement with key stakeholders in relation to sustainability. So that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's all welcome HSBC's Head of Sustainability, Mr. CJ Hernandez.
Great. Everyone, can you hear me clearly? Hi. Okay, great. Hi, I'm CJ Hernandez. I am the Head of Sustainability for HSBC. And I understand today is a bit of a very morning presence. No? Good morning, everyone. Are you good? I mean, you feel that, okay, let's try to make it a bit more interactive. I wanted to know more about my audience today, this morning. Anyone here majoring in finance? Can you raise your hands? Okay, everyone's like busy. Raise your hands. Are you all in college? Raise your hands. Sige, para magising tayo konti. So yeah, alright, we can move a bit. Yeah, okay. Anyone here from engineering and science? How about arts? Arts, okay. Health? Okay, saan kayo galing, guys? What are your courses? Can I hear some of the courses here? Business. Okay. Anyone from the business side? Okay. All right. Accounting? None. Management? Okay. All right. Marketing? Okay. There you go. All right. So there's a lot of marketing people. All right. Hi. Again, I'm CJ Hernandez. Very glad to be here. At HSBC, as was mentioned, it's very important for us to engage with our stakeholders, not just our customers, but the community within where we operate, to ensure that we are all moving towards a sustainable future. And part of that really, and actually a central piece of that, is what we're talking about today, which is financial literacy. Okay. Second question from you guys. Raise your hands from 1 to 5. 5 meaning very knowledgeable. Who here is at level 1 in financial literacy? Like, I have no clue. I wanted to learn more. 1. Okay, 2. Anyone from 2? Like, I know a bit of the terms, but it's still all not super familiar with me. 3. Anyone 3? You think, okay, so you're familiar with saving, you're familiar with, budgeting, which is very good because during my time in college, I am not very good at budgeting. 4, you think you're investing already? Anyone who's into investments? And 5, anyone who's into very much into financial literacy? None? Okay, so not everyone raised their hands. They're probably a 6. No? No? Yeah? Okay, no. Alright, just kidding. Okay, so what is financial literacy, right? So financial literacy is actually rooted around making sure that everyone has basic grasp of what, I like actually the answers earlier in the video, right? When you talk about what is financial literacy, it's intentional use of money as a tool, right? Making sure you know how you budget, how you save. Very good, right? So in the UNDP, it's a very important pillar because it helps equalize families and individuals that have that doesn't have the same level of capital, right? And we'll talk about that later. So this is your financial literacy 101, right? Again, I want to spend my time to make sure that we're all on the same page, right? Game? Okay, sige. Good morning. Let's go. Okay. So, what is financial literacy? See, a farmer says, why would I buy insurance for my rice field? I can use the money to buy more farm implements. Who here is aware of insurance? You know how insurance works? Wow, okay. Another scenario, this is one from the SME. She says, glad my cousin was able to lend me money to start this small business, although he asked for twice the money next year. Well, and then last one, which is probably a bit more closer to you guys, I don't know. But wow, this crypto game is so cool. I'm earning so much money. I should probably put all my savings here and maybe get some money from my friends so they get to invest at me. Right? So we'll talk about these three scenarios today, right? And kind of see what the different facets of financial literacy can be. Right? Game? Okay. So first one, farmers, right? Majority of farmers right now tend to borrow money to buy their farm implements. When you say farm implements, it's the seedling, it's the fertilizer, it's the preparation of the field. And unfortunately, as of the moment, the intake of insurance in the farming sector, in the agriculture sector, is very low. Can you guess? Can you shout a number, a percentage of the number of farmers in the Philippines who buy insurance? 10%? Okay, wow, that's so, okay, that's not, di naman, 10%. Higher, a bit higher. Okay, isa, no, 10, 20, and it's around 20 to 30%. 20 to 30% of farmers, right? Who here thinks that's irresponsible? Raise your hands. Okay, thanks, Philip. Anyone else who thinks that's irresponsible? A bit, no? Parang if you kind of contrast that to our every year calamities or damages to agriculture and livelihoods, it's a kind of a bit of an irresponsible. Anyone aware of last year's total agriculture damage brought by calamity? It's around 800 million. Okay, just the calamities, right? So I think, okay, Tatang, why are you not buying insurance? Right? And sometimes, and when you speak to farmers, some of the realities is, well, number one, you know what, I only have this amount of money. Rather than getting insurance, I'd rather use it for my family today. Right? Or another angle we've heard is, you know what, I've tried buying insurance before, but when the disaster happened and I claimed for the damages, the insurance company didn't get back to me for months. I wasn't able to recuperate anything. It's a waste of money. Right? I mean, it's a bit complex, no? And the reality is with financial literacy, and again, I wanted to kind of widen your perspective, right? You said you guys know how to save, how to budget. In terms of financial literacy, it also means how can we enable people like Tata to get meaningful access to insurance? Because as you mentioned, guys, earlier, it's important for his crops, right? Right, so another is Ate, right? So Ate is part of the SMEs. Oh, I was about to ask, what percentage of businesses here in the Philippines is SME? Andyan na siya. It's 99% of the businesses in the Philippines are MSME. What's MSME? Micro, small, medium enterprises, right? So as you can see, it's the backbone of our economy if they're 99% of the businesses here, right? But the challenges with micro MSMEs is that sometimes, or most of the times, they're personal businesses. Anyone here who's trying to start their business? Wala pa? Okay, I hope someday you try, be a bit more entrepreneurial. The challenges is sometimes it's very hard to access formal financing, right? So what are formal financing? Formal financing is really financing coming from formal institutions. That's very redundant. So like meaning banks, right? And the challenge with not having access to formal financing is that sometimes the cost of capital is very high. Anyone here who's familiar with cost of capital? Okay, what is the cost of capital? What's another term for cost of capital? Right, interest rates. Right? Right. So it's because when you borrow, the cost of borrowing is the interest on top. Right? Can you guess what's the borrowing rate for when you borrow from the central bank? from Sir Ben Jokno earlier? You cannot borrow directly, that's right. But what's the treasury rate? So essentially the starting point rate, would you know? Around 5-6%. Right? What's the interest rate for, so meaning if you borrow 100 pesos today, the next year you pay what? 106, correct. Good job. So that's an annual rate of 6%. So what about personal loans in the bank? 8 would be very generous. Maybe around 10 to 12. 10 to 12%. Right? So when you borrow 100 pesos this year, you pay next year, what? 112. Yes, perfect. Okay. Uno sa math. Okay, next is really, what about microfinancing? So Hope Credit, Asia Link, ano ba? Cebuana Holier, I guess, also provides financing. GCash also provides financing. Would you know? 18%. Something around that line. 15 to 18%. 1.6% per month. Right? What about yung kapatid ni ate? Earlier, nakapangutang siya. Right? Pero sige, papautangin kita 100 pesos today, pero next year dapat 200 yan, Diba? So without financial literacy, people sometimes people will not understand the options that they have. Right? So what if si ate may access pala siya kay GCash, kunwari, or kay Maya, or any of the microfinancing. Imagine an interest rate of 100% per annum versus 18%. Right? So that gap, that kind of savings, of course, medyo okay ako dun sa 100%. But it does happen. Sometimes it happens, right? Loan sharks is around 30 to 40%. Right? Loan sharks. The 5-6, I think, was what you're more familiar colloquially with. Right? So with financial literacy and the rise of digitalization of payments, what really happened was there's an increase in financing access. Which is good because, again, ate will have more options, but without proper financial literacy, it can go into really bad debt as well, right? So it has to come hand in hand. And that goes to before I go to the next example, really, this is another slide, and it really, I think, on an SME standpoint, right, on both your personal financial literacy, but also thinking ahead of what you want to do with your life. When you participate in the financial sector, what you realize is that there's a spectrum of what it means for financial literacy and inclusion. Right? For someone with high net worth, it's probably getting more investments. Right? Stocks, bonds. Right? Someone who, in the middle class, working class, is probably getting the right mortgages. Right? How do you build wealth and stuff like that. Someone from the MSME might be getting better interest rates, or even investors at an equity level. Right? But someone from the very low part of the income ladder, it can mean savings, it can mean having a startup capital. Right? So all of it's a spectrum when you look at financial literacy. And for example, for us HSBC, we both engage the high net worths as our customers and all that, but we also work on philanthropy with ICN to work for financial literacy for the ultra-poor. So ultra-poor means they have a daily income as a family of around 50 to 100 pesos. Yeah, so sometimes kasi when we talk about financial literacy, people will think, well, okay, you need to save. But sometimes the reality is that the idea of saving is underlined with privilege, right? You're able to save because you have enough for the day. Right? So what are communities that doesn't have enough for the day, what do they do? Right? How can they go out of poverty? And that's really where the impact of financial literacy and access to financial services is very meaningful towards society. Cool? Okay. Right. So especially right now, it's very important for all of us to have financial literacy because the products that are available for us is exploding, right? So anyone here who played Axie Infinity ba yun? May nagano ba sa inyo before? Right? Anyone here familiar with blockchain technology? Blockchain, right? Okay, cryptocurrency. Anyone here investing in a cryptocurrency? Anyone here interested in investing in cryptocurrency? No, cryptocurrencies are good. I mean, I'm not saying you should do it, right? But it is a form of financial security, right? But the problem is we don't know, right? So like, it's a very good example of financial literacy because it's very unfamiliar for us, right? So with unfamiliarity, there's high risk. Right, and when you talk about financial literacy earlier, you talked about managing risks and savings, right? So without financial literacy, it's also exposing people towards undue financial risks, right? That's also for you, right? So understanding what you mean when you do saving, when you do time deposits, when you do bonds, and then equity. And then other more explorative investments. It's different. But also, I think for young people, financial literacy is also opening opportunities, right? Understanding that there's a real huge world outside of campus that is actually basing its growth and operations towards people who know how to handle money. Right? So that's why we have the financial sector, right? So that's why we have the banking sector because underlying all of it is really people who know how to manage money, more so how to manage risk, right? And so by being financially literate, that also opens up opportunities for you in certain sectors, okay? Yeah, so for us, again, apart from making sure we educate our customers in this different type of instruments and challenges within the financial sector, right? Cybersecurity, for example, and whatnot. We also work with top universities. We invited LaSalle last year. This is this year. This is a business case competition where we invite students to ideate solutions based on real-world problems of corporates. And that starts with financial literacy, right? When you ask yourself, okay, how can this company make money? Or how can this company manage a transition or a cost spending? That in itself is is an evolution of financial literacy. And hence it's very important because again, as I told you earlier, it's a spectrum. It becomes different whenever you talk to different kind of groups or people. All right. So that's financial literacy, but now I want to move slightly off tangent and talk about, okay, why are we talking about sustainability and financial literacy together? Right? As was discussed earlier by Governor Ben Jokno, it's a foundation of a strong and resilient economy, right? Financial literacy. But I want to flip it, right? What about sustainability? I like what someone from the video said earlier, that financial literacy is also intentional use of finances as a tool to achieve your objectives. So that's what we do every day in HSBC, is that we use financial tools to help spur a sustainable economy. All right? So usually when you talk about sustainability, people will think about what? When you think about sustainability, what's the first thing that comes in mind? Trees? Who thought trees? Taas ng kamay, okay lang. Okay, oh yeah. Who thought water? Wala. Air. Emissions. Right? That's very, climate. Who thought about climate when we're talking about sustainability? Yeah, that's a very pressing risk, right? But nobody thinks about banks. Like, what do banks have to do with sustainability? We don't burn a lot of coal. We don't burn money. Yeah, right? But the reality is, if you are in the financing sector, you're actually one of the more powerful ones to drive sustainability. Why? Because the growth of a sector follows the direction of money. Right? So where you put your money, where you put your investments, it encourages growth. Right? So when a large bank like us, invest in high-emitting sectors, then that sector will grow, right? So now, the good thing is, with financial literacy and the tools that are available for us today, we can reverse that trend, right? So that's why strong financial literacy can collectively support growth of sustainable industries. How? Right? So similar to how we can choose sustainable source products, right? Who here use reusable straws? Ganyan. Who here stop using plastic packaging? Kahit na soggy yung food with the paper packaging, right? Similarly on your financial decisions, individually and as a career in the future, there is so much more opportunity now to spur sustainability using financial literacy, right? So very basic, for example, who here invests in stocks or funds? You want, right? Great. Oh, this is from GCash? Okay, right. So right now, for example, in GCash, right, if you're investing in funds, you can search there sustainable, and you'll find Sustainable Development Fund from ATRAM. And what's the focus of that? Oh, it's a group of, happy with the jump board, it's a group of equities that are focused on sustainable development, right? Or if you want to actively manage your funds, for example, there are approaches such as having, certain rules, right? Number one, I don't want to invest my money on companies that are involved in coal. I don't want to, even if they have like a 20% year-on-year IRR returns. Right? So similar to how we decide what we eat, right? We want to source locally. Similar to why we don't want to use plastic straws because of the turtles. Equally now, our investments are ways for us to control and provide our own statement and say, hey, we want to be sustainable, right? And that's happening. That's happening right now. And I want to push it further, right? Once you move to the workplace, like me as a sustainability practitioner, I want to invite you to think about sustainability-related roles. Or how do you inculcate sustainability to the roles where you will be part of? Because the reality is, there's still a lot of things to do, right? We're still far from 1.5 degrees of the Paris Agreement, and the Philippines still needs to achieve 35% renewable energy by 2030. But the reality is more and more business sound, financial literacy, opportunities are overlapping with sustainable operations. How can I say that? Think about renewable energy. What's the lowest cost of energy source right now? Is it coal? You sure? Lowest cost of energy without systems. It's solar panels. Solar panels dropped 1,000% of their prices since a decade ago. Right? So now the conversation around sustainability is not just about doing good with the environment. It's part of it still. But the reality is we're understanding more and more that it's a business imperative to do it. It makes money to be sustainable. So sustainability and financial literacy, more than ever, comes hand in hand. All right? So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me later. But I do hope I kind of give you some questions to answer today. And maybe think about what you want to do in the future and what you want to do about your financial management stuff. All right? So, yeah. Thank you and good morning.
All right. Thank you very much, CJ. So we will catch CJ again later during the panel discussion. So if you guys had any questions coming from his presentation, just take note of it because you'll get a chance to ask them later. So let's go ahead and continue learning. Our next company is one of the top mobile wallets that delivers a wide range of financial services, from money transfers and bill payments to online shopping and access to savings, credit, and insurance through a smartphone app. Now, I'm pretty sure everybody probably has it already downloaded. So it was mentioned earlier, GCash. Who has GCash here on their phones? If you are not raising your hand, I would like to question you and check your phone because I can't believe it, but okay. All right, thank you. Thank you, everyone. So I'm sure you're familiar. So GCash is an their in-app platform, GForest. Who here uses GForest? Anybody? Ako, I'm a very active user of GForest. I have like 5 trees. So GForest, if you didn't know, enables users to support various environmental initiatives with just a few taps on their phone. And through the GForest, users' green actions translate into real tree planting, now totaling over 4 million trees across approximately 14,300 hectares. So, to discuss empowering smart financial choices, digital-first financial literacy, and advisory for sustainable inclusion, we have with here us today the head of market education for wealth management of GCash. Our speaker is an economist and wealth management professional with a specialization in capital markets and a deep focus on the Philippine equities landscape. So let's all welcome Mr. John Garcia.
Thank you, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm very, very happy to be here at De La Salle University for the Manila Bulletin Sustainability Focus Session. So just like CJ earlier, I would also want to get a pulse of the audience by asking for a show of hands to those who watched the UP La Salle game last Sunday. So hindi naman sustainability and financial literacy, yeah. So to those who raised their hands and probably to, you know, when you found out the results of the game, probably the Sunday night was a good night's sleep for everyone here in La Salle. Yeah, it was a very sour moment for me. Of course, I was supporting UP, but it was a very, very good game. Masterclass defense and offense by both teams, and what else can I say about it? I love the standing now. So looks like despite the challenging first round of the UAAP men's basketball tournament, we are finding our way to the top 4. So hopefully we'll meet each other again in the finals, hopefully. There's a chance, but it's gonna be tough. So today I will be discussing how GCash is empowering Filipinos to make smart financial choices through digital-first financial literacy and advisory. Okay? All right. So I really appreciate the speakers earlier, all the way from the keynote, of course, Secretary Jokno and our colleague from HSBC. They kept mentioning GCash, so I think we're really making that impact, right? Okay. So inclusion is at the heart of what we do in GCash. Majority of our clients, if not most of them, really all of them, are from the mass market, from everyday Filipinos. 90% of them are your everyday Filipinos, the ones you see in the street. They're from the mass market. Over half, or close to half of them are female. Majority of them are young adults. And around 8 out of 10 of the GCash clients are living outside Metro Manila. So what does this mean? This means that financial inclusion is not just only for a privileged few, but for everyone. Through the years, GCash has really positioned itself, really become an enabler for inclusion, with over 6 million merchants and online sellers enabled through our platform. We have onboarded 134,000 Paleng QR vendors, and we have partnered with 211 local governments. So this really has made GCash a trusted brand that people rely on every day. I mean, even before joining GCash, I would open and use the app every day, at least once every day. Now I open it more because I discovered just how many things I can do with the app. Back then, I thought I can only just send money and buy load. So I'd like to take a few minutes to introduce you to Danny and Lara. Okay, Danny is a tricycle driver who struggles to, make his budget reach the end of the month. While Lara, on the other hand, is a young professional. She's saving, but she hasn't really started investing yet. So despite their different backgrounds, both Danny and Lara are, facing the same challenge. And this challenge is actually faced by every Filipino today. It's really, how can we start building our wealth? How can we start growing our money? You see, guys, the reality is only 29% of Filipinos have reached the target financial literacy score. So I remember earlier in Prof. Jokno's keynote message, he said that we reach only an average score of 58%, 2 percentage points below the global standard. In the same survey, the Philippines ranked 25th out of 39 in the countries surveyed. So what is this gap telling us? This gap is telling us that we need financial education more than ever to really support our citizens in the Philippines. You see, guys, without knowledge, without the proper knowledge, people will remain left behind. So to address this issue, we are bringing our programs closer to meet the Filipinos where they are. We regularly bring the concepts into practice through our on-ground financial literacy events. Through our GCash Paratalks, we are bringing financial lessons closer to the communities who needs it most. Just this year, we launched our G-Mindset University program to help shape financially savvy students like you. Hopefully, in the next edition next year, we get to do one here at the De La Salle campus. Again, hopefully, we get to do one here at the De La Salle campus, and I hope there are approvers here who are listening. And we're not just doing this on ground. We're bringing financial literacy to scale through our in-app solutions. So in GCash, we have the Learning Hub that provides, financial knowledge lessons to our users 24/7. We're also providing consistent advisory through our G-Invest programmatic content. These are curated, always on financial content to help our clients grow their wealth. And before the year ends, we will be launching our AI-enabled wellness coach. Think about it. Your personal financial wellness coach that will give you best-in-class guidance at your fingertips, 24/7, bespoke to you. And the good thing about our financial wellness coach is that we designed it to allow you not only to talk about personal finance, you can talk about everything. Yeah, you can talk about travel, you can even talk about your love life. It will handle it. Ang galing niya, actually. So, our goal in GCash is really to provide true financial inclusion. May it be having access to, fair credit for everyone, saving, or even getting protection for yourself through our insurance products, all the way to the investment products. And, they mentioned it earlier, how we're making our services help improve the daily lives of Filipinos. We are very proud of the GCash commute. Really, becoming global is what we want to do with GCash, within GCash. We want to bring global experiences that we that we observe outside the country back home to the Philippines. So yeah, not long ago, not many Filipinos have access to financial services or even a basic savings account. But now the story is different. 65% have access to financial accounts. 51% have access to insurance. 51% of Filipinos are actually protected through the services that we provide in the app. And now, more than ever, Filipinos have started investing, having access to investments, and having access to fair credit. That is game-changing. So gone are the days that we are subject to loan sharks, because now microfinance is available to every Filipino at fair interest rates. Take savings, for example. With over 14.5 million clients of GSave, 1 in 4 banked Filipinos are saving through our app. Over half of them, women. For funds, we have 8.4 million clients. This translates to around 4 in 5. So around paano ba yan? 80%? Yeah, roughly. Okay, 4 in 5 UITF transactions conducted through our app. And yes, we have 15 funds available, including the sustainability fund mentioned earlier, but we also have global funds available. So what I really like about this product is it allows Filipinos now to diversify, not only in different asset classes, but also in different markets through the fund. And of course, we've democratized access to stock trading with our GStocks PH product. In 2024, the PSE recorded that it has already breached the 2 million mark in stock market accounts. 1 in 3 of those accounts are trading through GCash. And through GCash, we are now allowing Filipinos to invest and become part owners of the brands that they love and patronize. So yeah, malayo na narating natin, pero malayo pang patutunguhan. So we have products in the pipeline that are, being designed to serve our priority sectors, including the farmers and fisher folks, senior citizens, PWDs, micro-entrepreneurs, and even our Muslim brothers and sisters. So yeah, for today I was also asked to give a few tips for students to start their savings and investment journey. So in GCash, we believe that financial empowerment, true financial empowerment, starts with the right mindset. So it's about making smart choices, building healthy money habits early, and having the confidence to take charge in your financial journey. Okay, so most of you have probably thought, I'm gonna start saving already. Sino na? Who have started saving already? Okay, so to those who have raised their hands, sino na yung actually started saving? Okay, very good. Because the way I see it, some people na nakausap ko, I will start saving, yeah, I'll do that. But they don't really get to it. It's just like saying, I'm gonna start working out. I'm gonna start doing a diet na so that I'll lose some of the belly fat. But you don't really get started because it feels so overwhelming. Parang napakahirap gawin, right? So that's where the SMART method comes in. And I'm sure everyone in the room knows what the SMART method is, right? Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Okay, so applicable siya sa savings, all right? Ask yourself, what are you saving for? Is it a trip? Probably. A gadget that you want to buy, you need for school? Or maybe you want to start an emergency fund as early as now, even while you're studying. And you need to know, how much are you saving for? What's the target? Are you saving for 25,000, 50,000, 100,000, maybe more? And kaya ba? Is it doable? You know, how much can you really set aside from your student allowance, right? And you also need to ask yourself, yung bang purpose mo is actually relevant to you? Are you saving for something that really matters to you right now? And finally, you need to give yourself a deadline. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna save up for 6 months, a year, maybe 2 years. Kasi medyo mataas yung goal, maliit yung allowance that I can, portion of the allowance that I can set aside. Now, the good thing about having this structure is that now savings becomes, I would say, manageable and not overwhelming. Because there's a clear structure, there's a clear goal that you're doing. And if you apply this as early as now, you're not just, saving for one goal. You're actually preparing yourself to be financially confident in the future as you take bigger tasks in your financial journey. Okay, so now that you know the SMART method, question is, where do you save? And the good thing about GCash is that we have the platform that gives you access to a wide range of bank partners with a wide range of products. You might see names here that are familiar and, familiar to you. We have CIMB, BPI, Maybank, Uno Bank, and Cebuana Bank. So these banks offer different perks with their products, some higher interest rates, some no maintaining balance, and some even instant account opening. There's no review or KYC required when you open an account with them. The thing is, the benefit of having this in one platform is that you don't need to download a different app, open an account with the bank separately in a separate app, or even before all of these apps are available, having to really show up in a branch and line up just to open your account. So this really makes saving accessible for everyone. So there's no excuse if you're not starting to save na. Now I want to zoom in with another product, which is a time deposit product from our partner Uno Bank. So with the Uno Boost and Uno Earn product, this actually helps you to unlock greater value in your savings by offering higher interest rates. Now the thing with time deposit is that you forgo liquidity for the higher interest rate because you cannot withdraw the funds, immediately. You need to hold it given the time frame that you're signed up for. You can withdraw it, but you will be slapped with a few penalties. But the thing is, if you're really saving and you have that goal and you have that timeline, then having some money in a time deposit will help you boost the returns and probably get you closer to your target. So the point here is not just investing, not just saving, but rather strategically saving or even kind of starting to invest your money. So you're putting your money, allowing it there to rest and grow with better interest rates that will benefit you for the long term. Okay, so until this point rather, we've been talking about savings. But what if you can really make your money grow? What if you can really make your money work for you? Sino mahilig magkape? May libreng kape dyan, But who buys their coffee, right? I buy my coffee every day. Kaya 7 minutes. I buy my coffee every day, but the thing is, what if, for instance, think about it. Let's make it real. You set aside 50 pesos per day. Kaya? Kaya? Kaya. Carry ba? Okay. You set aside 50 pesos per day, that's 250 pesos a week. Only 5 days lang, hindi kasama weekends. 1,000 pesos a month. Okay? So fast forward to today, you would have, set aside around 50,000 pesos. But instead of putting it in a savings account, you invest that regular stream of money that you set aside monthly, 1,000 pesos, to the Atram Global Technology Feeder Fund. Atram Global Tech Feeder Fund. This is an actual performance of the fund that you're seeing. That money would have grown to 72,000. So that's a 45% increase by just setting aside 50 pesos a day. That's not magic. That is the power of compounding and global investing for you. You're putting your money in companies, global tech companies that you already know. Google, Apple, Microsoft, etc. And letting those companies, riding on the growth of those companies with just 50 pesos a day. So, going back to my question earlier, kaya? Thank you. Okay. Bukas na kayo ng G-Funds mamaya. Okay. So yeah, binenta ko. So anyway, our true vision in GCash is that we want to empower Filipinos to have access so that they have the choice. Nasa inyo yan. Whether it be saving through GSave, investing through G-Funds, G-Bonds, or G-Stocks, or even getting yourself protected through G-Insure. We want to help every Filipino to have the right confidence as they take on their financial journey. So with that, I would like to thank everyone, and of course to thank Manila Bulletin and DLSU for having us here. We hope through this short talk, I was able to inspire you to jumpstart your saving and investment journey. Maraming salamat and good morning.
Thank you very much, John. So again, we'll have John back with us during the panel discussion. So it was actually a very, very informative presentation that he just had. Again, GCash, I believe, is so well used and incorporated now in our daily lives. So it's always nice to see what other features, because I'm sure we're all very familiar with, sending money, but going deeper and understanding the other benefits that the app actually has to help us and empower us to save more is always useful information to know. So thank you very much, John. At this point, our third speaker for this morning is actually a representative from Manila Bulletin. So he is the Director-in-Chief Finance Officer of the Asian Center for Legal Excellence. He's also the board director of several companies in publishing, outdoor advertising, and import trading. He is the editorial director of MediaWise Communications and editor of 3 coffee table books that won the IABC Gold Quill Awards from the Chicago-based International Association of Business Communicators. He is also a member of the Institute of Corporate Directors, or the ICD, and involved in the ICD Casebook project. He is a member also of the Financial Executives Institute of the Philippines, or FINEX, and publications chairman of the FINEX Media Affairs Committee. He is also a member of the American Chamber of Commerce, or the AmCham, the Philippines Publications Committee, and involved in the AmCham Business Journal. Again, so he's also a representative from Manila Bulletin. So he's a columnist on Manila Bulletin, Business Mirror, Filipino Mirror, and Manila Times. And I think actually out of everything, so very well accomplished and distinguished individual, but he is also a graduate of all top three schools in the Philippines. So from La Salle Bacolod, Ateneo de Manila, and UP Diliman. O, diba? Kino-collect ang schools. Okay. So, let us call on stage the Manila Bulletin columnist and Director-in-Chief Finance Officer of the Asian Center for Legal Excellence, Mr. Joseph Albert Gamboa.
Thank you, Sam. Good morning, fellow LaSallians. I studied for 12 years in La Salle Bacolod, from prep to senior high. But I also went to the other schools in Katipunan for my economics degree and my MBA. So here today, I'm representing 2 organizations, Manila Bulletin and FINEX, which is the Financial Executives Association of the Philippines. Let me start with Manila Bulletin. Next slide, please. So, Manila Bulletin is one of the oldest and largest broadsheets in the Philippines. It started actually 125 years ago, and it has sections on the environment, aside from the business section and the news portions. No? So it's published by the Manila Bulletin Publishing Corporation, which has, it's noted for its CSR initiatives. It also organizes the annual sustainability forums, and this one, the sustainability focus series sessions. So next slide, please. The sustainability forum started during the pandemic, November 2022, so it was virtual via Zoom. And the first edition had Mr. Hans C. Jr., the third generation C of the C family, as the main speaker. Beyond Green was the theme. Then followed by the second forum in 2023. It was already end of pandemic, so it was in person in UP Diliman with the theme of "If not now, when?" And last year, there was another face-to-face at UP Diliman, Bridging the Gap. Next slide, please. This session, sustainability focus session series, started last year. The first one was in UST in September. There's Philip and the others. And the second one was also in UST earlier this year, April. And then today, this is already the second postponement. First one because of the storm in August, and the second one because of the transport strike in September. So now here we are. Next slide, please. Well, Phoenix, if you're familiar with the ICFC, LaSalle has been winning the intercollegiate finance competition. This is the organization that organizes it. It's the organization of CFOs and finance professionals, which has been around since 1968. It co-founded the Credit Information Bureau in collaboration with the Bangko Sentral and the Securities and Exchange Commission. And it promotes financial literacy through its two subsidiaries, which are the Phoenix Foundation and the Phoenix Academy. Next slide, please. So these are the projects that we've had. We have basic financial literacy seminars and webinars for underprivileged groups, senior citizens, the armed forces, the police and the Coast Guard, retirees, youth groups, and MSMEs. Phoenix also published the Handbook on Personal Finance, which has a Tagalog version during the pandemic. So it's being distributed to these marginalized communities. Next slide, please. Phoenix also conducts the Finance Educators Training Program, and some of our De La Salle teachers might have attended this. It's a program for finance professors and instructors. And Phoenix also delivers advanced leadership programs for CFOs and senior finance executives on corporate governance. And here, it holds the ICFC. I think that's been around since 1998, no? LaSalle has won, I think, the most number of ICFC championships. And we also co-published with the Bangko Sentral 2 books on ethics in finance. One is Ethics, Black, White, or Gray during the time of Governor Tetanco. And the second one with Governor Diokno, Ethics, Enduring, or Evolving. So next slide, please. Manila Bulletin and Phoenix have this collab, no? Which is called Business Option. It's that's been around since 2000. We have a media partnership through a regular twice-weekly column in the business section of Bulletin, which is called Business Option. So Manila Bulletin provides the editorial space, while Phoenix provides the content and advocacy. There are 8 of us who rotate. No? We write the columns on a rotational basis every Tuesday and Thursday. So today I think there's one now. And it's available on Manila Bulletin's print and online editions. Next slide, please. To celebrate the 25-year partnership between Bulletin and Phoenix, we are going to come up with a commemorative book next year containing all the business option columns from year 2000 to 2025. This idea came from Manila Bulletin Chairman Basilio Yap, who during our courtesy visit of Phoenix suggested this. Secretary Coloma was there when we presented a plaque of appreciation for Bulletin, and then Mr. Yap said we should come up with a book. No? Okay, so next slide, please. Okay, we go to the headlines of the past few days. Phoenix initiated a joint statement with 5 other business organizations. This is the one on the left side. Let me check. It's a joint statement regarding the present flood control scandal. And the highlights of which is it proposes changes to the laws on the secrecy of bank deposits and the Foreign Currency Deposit Act. These 2 laws have acted and continue to act as straitjackets on regulators, preventing them from being efficient in undertaking measures such as investigating and prosecuting people involved in corruption and money laundering. These 2 laws are very rigid and stringent, as asserted by the International Monetary Fund, and it has placed severe restrictions on our country's financial and economic stability. So that was last Friday. No? And today's headline, today particularly, that's the one on the right side. It's signed by 34 business organizations, including the ones that are normally very conservative. It urges President Bongbong Marcos to immediately and transparently adopt the following measures, which first, to empower the Independent Commission on Infrastructure with full legal authority and independence to conduct a swift, comprehensive investigation free from political influence. Second, to prosecute all those responsible impartially and without regard of rank, position, political affiliation, or personal relations. Third, implement institutional reforms, ensure restitution of ill-gotten wealth and embezzled funds of the government, and strengthen procurement and oversight systems preventing future abuse. And lastly, provide regular public updates on the progress of investigations and reforms, and to publicly disclose all audit findings to demonstrate genuine commitment and credibility. So these are very strong words coming from the business community, who would normally be quiet when it comes to political issues. Okay, next slide, please. So that one, yes, mostly were boomers and Gen X, no? Which I come from. Now it's the turn of your generation, the millennials, and the Gen Z, to lead the fight against corruption, as exemplified by the UAP the past week. So John earlier said, those of you who might have watched the UP LaSalle game last Sunday, would have noticed that during the halftime, it was like a rally against corruption. And this was also started by Ateneo 2 weeks ago when during the game against UP, they had that behind their shirts and in front of their shirts, Kurakot Ikulong. So in closing, may I request all of you to stand up, raise your right or left arm, clench your fist, and repeat after me. Kulong na yan, mga kurakot. Come on. Kulong na yan, mga kurakot. Kulong na yan, mga kurakot. Thank you. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay tayong lahat.
Thank you very much, Sir Albert. If I could please ask you to stay here on stage because we're going to start our panel discussion. And joining him is, again, Mr. CJ Hernandez of HSBC and Mr. John Garcia from GCash. And we also have Mr. Philip Konyeng from the Manila Bulletin to join us on stage. We'll have a few chairs. All right, so we'll just get some chairs set up, and then we'll have everyone join us on stage for the panel discussion. But before we proceed with that, just a quick check on everyone. How are we? Are we still good? Yes? Okay, I know the people here are still good, but I'm checking on the kids, no? How are we? Students, we still good? Yes, okay, there we go. Just checking for life, okay? So we're still all here. So while everyone's setting up, again, so during the panel discussion, we'll have the format basically. So we have a few questions that we were able to get from you guys, from some of the students beforehand, before today. So we'll start off with that. And then afterwards, as we proceed with the discussion, we'll also be opening the floor to all of you here. So if you have any questions, we'll be passing around the mic, so please feel free to ask. Again, earlier we asked if you had any questions coming from the speakers earlier, just to note them down, but this will be your chance to get those answers. Okay, so here we go. So we have all of our speakers here on stage, and joining us as well to represent the voice of the academe, can we invite our DLSU representative, Professor Maria Gemma Balderrama Cruz. Professor is here to join us as well. So thank you very much, ma'am, for being here with us this morning to represent the DLSU community. There we go. All right, cool. Okay, thank you. So let's go ahead and kick things off. So as I mentioned earlier, we'll start first with some questions that we got from our audience. So please feel free to answer. So we'll just start first of all. So earlier during the sessions, we got a pretty good understanding of, from an institutional level, from both the private and public sector, on what financial sustainability is. But I guess to kind of ground it a little bit, especially for our students here this morning, for you personally, for anyone personally, what is financial sustainability for you on a personal level? How can we incorporate everything that we've talked about this morning and really apply it to our daily and everyday lives? So anyone, if opening up the floor, Professor, if you would, yeah, ladies first. We'd like to hear from you.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Good morning, fellow speakers. Thank you for this opportunity. And regarding the question, I think I have one tagline on that. It's actually save more, spend less, stress never. And that's self-explanatory. Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you. Gusto ko yun. So save more, spend less, and stress less. Stress never. Okay, stress never. Okay, thank you very much. Gentlemen, perhaps you'd like to build, or if you have anything else you'd like to add?
Sure. For me personally, I think it's very important to save more. Make sure you allot something that you will save as a commitment before you do the spending. And finally, and as you go to your professional world, your salaries will increase, but that doesn't mean your costs should increase as well. So live within your means.
Yes, so it's really becoming financially responsible, a part of adulting for everyone. And we keep telling our audience to save your money and your money will save you. So this is not just for yourself, but also something that you can do for your family, for your peers, and also for the community. You see, with the better savings rate, the quality of life in general will increase. And it's really not just about you sacrificing what you can spend today, but it's more on learning the value of delayed gratification. Being able to afford better things in life because you are responsible and you know to wait for that right moment. That time that you can really afford to make that major spend.
I'll read to you one of my columns now, which defines financial literacy. Financial literacy is inseparable from sustainability because both of them emphasize long-term responsibility and wise resource management. A financially literate population makes informed decisions. So as Ma'am said, spend prudently, save consistently, and invest for the future. This mindset supports sustainable consumption and reduces social inequality. Inclusive financial education empowers communities to access credit, start enterprises, and participate in economic growth, which are cornerstones of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. On a national scale, financial literacy strengthens resilience against crisis, but we should not romanticize resilience. Ultimately, sustainability is not only about protecting ecosystems, but also about sustaining livelihoods. It provides the tools and mindsets to achieve both by transforming citizens into responsible stewards of their finances, communities, and the planet.
Okay. I'd like to then now ask a question to the panelists, because I think they've all talked about what in theory we're supposed to be doing or what would be financial literacy on our part. But I think the question that happens, and we see it happening especially now in social media, is how do you discern, how do you be able to filter what is being put out there as financial advice versus what is a scam, di ba? Because like you'll have all these videos of Ricky Rason, of what do you call this, San Miguel Corporation, of Ramon Ang, di ba, telling you, advising you to do this, do that, and those are credible people who normally you should have listened to. But of course, they wouldn't be doing those kinds of messages. So how do you find financial literacy to be part of that, and what are the safeguards to be able to discern what is real and what should really be taken as proper advice?
I think, there are so many false information that you will see in the social media. But I think the key there is actually to conduct due diligence, which I'm also teaching to my students, that it is very important. Before you invest, you have to conduct due diligence and ensure that it's really authentic. That would be the first stage. And in that way, your money will not put to something that will be useless. So it's really be mindful, be prudent, and there is always that value of integrity. Thank you.
So for me, I think there's maybe two rules. The first one, if it looks too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true, right? That's just it. We talked about earlier interest rates, right, which is from like 18%, right? These are the usual things you should look into. If it's more than 50%, it's probably too good to be true. The second one is when you get your advice, and this is me personally, it's important that you get advice, but you curate who you get your advice to, right? So that means having few people that you trust rather than getting more, because when you listen to all of the advice in the internet, there's agendas that are clashing and some scenarios that are really not relevant for you. So it's more important that for seeking advice, you have a more curated, selected people around you rather than online presence.
Yeah, I guess to the example, when we're seeing online videos of, say, the businessmen, no? Ricky Razon and Ramon Ang, giving what seems to be, something that won't come from them, but they're very, very reliable. The younger generation now, I've noticed, are more discerning, and they can actually spot a deep fake a mile away. And that's something that I cannot do. Kaya sometimes I ask, totoo ba to? So there goes the due diligence. But, and getting also advice from professionals, from experts, that's also true. But I think surrounding yourself with the right people, with also having the right mindset is also important. So meaning, be in a community that really fosters, proper exchange and discourse of information about investments, about savings, about personal finance, and you will be in a good place. So we encourage actually community building, and in that community, dun yung makikita which ones are really providing, sensible information and which ones are just trying to hype things up. And of course, once you get the feedback from the community, go back to your due diligence. And just to add to what Ma'am said, always look for credible source of information. There's a lot of, content creators who pose as financial advisors but don't have the necessary licenses. They will give this advice, but when the investment goes out, you cannot find them anymore. So always rely on credible sources of information, the proper media. If you're investing in stocks, go to the PSE Edge websites for proper disclosure. So with the right information, you will be, equipped, and you'll have the right, I would say, armor to protect yourself from these scrupulous individuals, from these investment scams.
To add to what my co-panelists have shared with you, I would say that social media is full of fake news and disinformation. So it's better to rely on mainstream media, like Bulletin. It's because journalists are trained to report the correct thing, and also because there are editors who would fact check what is being reported. So of course there's no AI there to. Some rely on ChatGPT, but they still edit it, no? So it's not fake as the bloggers or influencers would want to relay, no? So one example of an expert that maybe some of you have heard of, Eugene Acevedo, who just retired from RCBC as president. He has this LinkedIn column account that advises people on personal finance. We published this book, which won the Gold Quill last June in Vancouver. So he's one of the experts that should be relied on. And also, you go to PSE, there are legit stockbrokers there. Also, rely on your bankers. No, so, still old school. These are reliable, yes. Okay.
Sorry, can I add one more?
Sure, please go ahead.
One other thing I think would be helpful for us is curate your algorithm. So make sure you follow those that are institutions already, because the idea is that as you follow these institutions, the ones that are in the fake news will tend to kind of go away from your own kind of bubble, right? So, the reality is that the algorithm will serve you what you're looking for, and so the way you look for at the start will help determine the quality of your algorithm. That's why if you have so many Jedge algorithm, then it's probably because you're searching for those at the start. But you can recurate your algorithm by searching. Well, like for example, as mentioned, Manila Bulletin, for example, yes, or Rappler, or again these news agencies that tend to provide more effort in discerning what's true.
Yeah. So I think that really, guys, the main takeaway is, again, key phrase. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably isn't. Especially considering on social media, you really hear how the people like to romanticize the concept of earning or investing and talking about how easy it is to double your money and all of that. And while on some level, yes, especially with companies like GCash or HSBC that make it very accessible to be able to save and invest. But if anyone is promising you something over 6%, diba, na parang, that's already a very lucrative offer for a time deposit. And if anyone is promising you anything more than that, or the guaranteed na idodoble yung pera mo, that's kind of something to look out for, right? So let's just be very, exercise our due diligence there. So again, at this point, we have the microphone over here. So if there's anyone or any students who'd like to ask any questions, just please feel free to head over here. Or if you're shy, it's all right, we understand. Just raise your hand and we'll have somebody come up to you with a microphone. So does anyone have any questions that they'd like to ask? This is your opportunity, guys. You don't get an opportunity like this every day where we have our experts here to talk about, financial literacy. So most of you are business majors or marketing management majors. So if you have any questions, anyone? All right, so while you're gnawing on that, sige, I'll ask a question. So I think to just maybe even laymanize a little bit more the concept of saving for everyone. So ako personally, one of my personal practices, if you're familiar, is the 50-30-20. So when how many of you are graduating? Anyone? Wala. Okay, we have one student graduating from LaSalle, claiming it. The rest, let's check our GPAs, no? Joke lang. But for especially since at the end of the day, when you guys leave school, you'll be entering the workforce, right? And then it's understanding how to make use of your sueldo, your income. So for me personally, it's the 50-30-20. So 50% goes to my expenses, 30% I pay to myself. So that's just, general spending. And 20% of my income, I allot for savings. So that's just one of the many different tools. Would anybody, whether it's your personal practice or if you have any other recommendations or suggestions like this for our students as they enter the workforce and start, earning a regular income?
Well, okay, let me take a crack at it. 50-30-20 rule. Ganda pakinggan. Looks like very effective. Pero to tell me honestly, mahirap, right? It is
Yes,
very difficult.
It is, yeah.
So normally what we tell our clients, or at least the people that we work with, before you even start thinking of how to allocate your funds, which ones would go to expenses, savings, and investment, you try to understand first your spending habit. So dito we laymanize it because of our clients, right? So in the layman term, hanapin mo yung tagas. So think of a cup, and there's a faucet, and the faucet keeps on pouring water in the cup, but you can't seem to fill that cup. So somewhere in that cup, may tagas, may butas. And yung tagas na to, these are the little unnecessary spend that you think is not hurting your finances, but you don't really need them. So once you identify these little unnecessary spends that you can live without, that is already the start of your source for your savings fund. And as you continuously build on that habit, being mindful of your expenses, tracking your expenses, you get to observe that your savings is actually growing as a percentage of your income. And potentially, it can be that your target is the 50-30-20. Pero it's getting you there. Kasi sometimes thinking about the 50-30-20 might be overwhelming to someone who's, ang experience niya is, I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I'm making ends meet. Pero in reality, everyone has the capacity to save. They just don't know where to source the funds from. They just don't realize may tagas pala.
Yeah. Thank you. That's a wonderful, wonderful suggestion. So always identify yung mga unnecessary spends. All right, Professor.
If I can share also my personal experience on savings, I started in the corporate world as 20 years old. And during that time, I don't know yet how to save. So it was something like every time I get hold of my check, my money, I would really spend it, everything. In fact, at the start of my career, the spending that I would have is more than what I earn. So I'm just lucky that my parents would provide that extra allowance. But there are so many opportunities now. Don't copy what I did. But in the middle of my age, in the career life, I started to save. And it was something like, as what the gentleman mentioned, there are some tagas. So for example, is it okay to buy Starbucks every day, or should I just save it? Even my children, I would tell them when they ask permission to buy Starbucks, and I would say, oh, there is a good coffee in the kitchen, and it's something like the special Nescafe, if I can say the brand. I would really buy the gold one. There is a brand, right? It's gold. So you can drink that instead of Starbucks. So along the way, I was able to realize, and in fact, I am teaching financial literacy because of my experience. So there were things that I would really let go, and I realized that, for example, spending on unnecessary things because I was promoted. So every time I receive an increase or promotion, I don't change my lifestyle. It's something like I would buy an insurance that will benefit my family as an investment. Kasi there are so many insurance now that not only the life insurance where the one who will enjoy would be your beneficiary. There are insurance now, products that you will enjoy in the future. So it's really financial literacy because you would know so many opportunities on how to save. And it's also good that with that principle of not changing the lifestyle, you will not be greedy as what we are promoting now, seeing what is going on around. So it's really that sense of integrity and honesty. And being a chief finance officer, I was able to hold a lot of funds in billions, but everything is accounted for. And I'm very proud of it because I can sleep every night peacefully. And my family is proud of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. All right, so remember, the key, for me, the key takeaway talaga is, even if your income increases, that doesn't necessarily mean that your lifestyle or your expense also has to increase in proportion to that, right? So that's actually where the savings can come in. All right, so again, last call for any questions.
Excuse me, may I add to that?
Yes, sir.
Don't treat your credit card as an ATM, no? So, very basic. Also, don't accept multiple credit cards. It's better to have debit cards so that you don't spend more than you earn or more than you save.
Yeah, it's understanding how to use credit. That's also something that's very important as well. All right. I think we had a question here from this gentleman. Sir, please go ahead. The microphone.
Good morning, distinguished speakers. So my question is about investments. So recently, the stock price for gold mining companies such as OGP, OceanaGold Philippines Incorporated, have risen exponentially. My advisors say that this is a sign of a bad economy as people are putting their money into safer investments rather than diversifying into other streams of income. Would you recommend that students invest in minerals such as gold and silver to safeguard their money?
Anybody want to take that?
Sure. Yeah, no, I think that's a very huge jump. So like, no, I mean, there's a couple of like nuggets of truth there, right? So number one is that traditionally people tend, or institutions, it's actually not people, it's institutions tend to move to commodities, specifically gold, when times are uncertain. And that's really because gold tend to have a bit more stable valuation, no? And it matches before the USD in terms of like stability, right? Now, if you're gonna ask me if you should do that personally, then and then that's a bit of a very different scenario, right? So my take is really to understand the nature of the securities or the financial securities that you're looking at, right? When you look at commodities, you look at stocks, you look at bonds, you look at funds, there are intrinsic properties there. Meaning, so for example, when you look at stocks, that's an equity, so it rises and falls with the valuation of a company. Similar to commodities, right? So even with gold, it's more stable for sure. But number one, there's barriers to entry to purchasing gold, and commodities doesn't operate the same as across minerals. So it doesn't mean that gold is stable, this other mineral is stable, or corn is stable. That doesn't translate. Similarly, if you look at bonds, the nature of bonds is that it's lending. So there is secured, prioritized payment towards you. So it's very important to look at it at the nature of itself rather than looking at it more on what's happening on like right now, right? So if you're gonna ask me if you want to safeguard your investments, look at the low risk part. So the very low risk is time deposit for sure. But the closely following through it is really through loans or through bonds, bond investments, because that's fixed. You want to be more secure, go for sovereign because you're essentially betting against a country. There.
Yeah, what he said. But yeah, it's very important to diversify. So remember, when there is an economic downturn, when markets are challenging, when you see a lot of volatility, it's presenting an opportunity for you. But the thing is, how do you grab that opportunity and how do you make the right decisions? So you look for, if you're still targeting equities, you look for companies that will still perform despite economic challenges. So there are defensive companies. One is about to do an IPO. I'm not saying you should buy, but my point is, companies like those would weather economic challenges. Now, should you want to diversify, it's very good to diversify, not only in different companies or sectors, but also across different asset classes. So you may look at fixed income as well. There are also savings schemes available, like the MP2 is a very good product. It's giving really good rates right now. Commodities is also a good way to go in any market that's challenged. And talking about the barriers to entry earlier, we've actually made investing to gold very, very accessible through our GCrypto product. So we have a PAX-G wherein the underlying asset is gold. And there's real gold stored somewhere in Europe. So yeah, that solves your barrier to entry.
May I ask which broker are you trading with? Are you Are you doing online?
Personally, I haven't invested yet. I've just been hearing a lot about it online as well and from my advisors.
Because open with G-Stocks, we have research.
Because there's no commodity exchange here in the Philippines, no? I was in my previous life. I was a stockbroker in the 1990s. No? You were not born yet, and there were lots of IPOs at that time, almost every month. No, in the time when President Ramos forced the merger of the Makati and Manila stock exchanges. Yeah, in the early 90s, 93, there was a boom in the market all the way to 90s, before the Asian financial crisis. So you have to trust brokers who are registered with the PSE and the SEC. Don't just rely on any info that you get. No. gold now is at its peak. No? So there's a possibility that it will, yes, nowhere to go but down. No? When the bonds and the equities, yes. So be very prudent when you do commodities, because before there were commodity firms here that were trading, but actually there was no exchange. So they were doing it from Hong Kong, but actually there were charges of fraud, no, at the time. Yeah, false trades, no? Because you don't really have the exchange here. Okay.
All right. So I think really the key takeaway from that question was diversification. That's important. And then secondly is also understanding the nature of the investment or the product that you want to get, and understanding how those products complement the current market, right? So if it's a very volatile market, maybe looking at more conservative investments, and then if the market's really good, look at something else. But it's really diversifying and then understanding, the right product for the right time. All right. So I guess last question, if there are anyone else. All right, we have a lady over there. Yeah, please feel free to approach the mic. So we'll have this as our last question before we close our morning session.
And can we give a small round of applause for Sam Thurman and his moderating today and his valuable input?
Thank you. All right, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm so small. Anyway, my question here is more related to persons like me who is starting on with little to no knowledge with investments, but the question is also related to the Philippine Stock Exchange. So the basic question here is, what can you say about the Philippine Stock Exchange in insurance? To broaden this question, how can the new government mandates require listed companies such as the Philippine Stock Exchange to disclose the climate risk and insurance firms to plan for the climate changes, which translates into the practical, as they said, spend smart strategy for ordinary Filipino families to protect their income and assets from the current situation that we are facing, such as the typhoons, the current inflations, and the market instability. And to follow up with that specifically, can you suggest what are the safest, lowest minimum investment vehicles where us college students with little knowledge can put their savings on the outspace of inflation, and how that would link to the country's overall financial resilience?
Yeah, I think you're wearing your answer.
Other than what Gcash has stated.
And for the thesis reply.
I can cover the sustainability report.
Yeah?
Yeah, so with regard to sustainability reporting, there has been an ongoing requirements already for companies to disclose. It's been there since 2021, I believe. But the problem, not the problem, but the format is continuously changing. No? So actually, if you look at your favorite stock picks or whatever, or publicly traded companies, part of their annual report is their sustainability report already. And from there, you can understand a couple of things. Number one, what are the material issues for them? So for example, a company like, Globe or Gcash would be cybersecurity as a material issue. But if you look at, let's say, AC Energy is, of course, renewable energy penetration. So you can understand exactly what their strategies are in addressing the sustainability issues that they're faced with. It's there, it's just too many words, which is a bit of a challenge, but it's a good exercise for everyone to read, because you'll get a better understanding of how these companies try to mitigate risks that are coming their way when it comes to climate. And it's real, right? So right now, there's a lot of initiatives already to hopefully provide a bit of quantification when it comes to climate risks. So for example, for banks, we're starting to look into climate stress testing, meaning we look at the assets that we have and see if, let's say, a certain scenario, for example, flooding happens, how many of our assets are exposed and at what level. And that's happening already across the different banks that we have right now. And so when it comes to sustainability, there's already details around it. I think the next step for PSE is to actually provide a dashboard around it, or a data availability, because these reports are already digitized. And so, but it's not yet publicized as of the moment. I'm throwing it away on the other investments.
Yeah, just to add to sustainable investing, what it means for you as a retail investor. So the thing is, there are a lot of international institutional investors with millions of funds that they're managing. And these are, not in pesos, huh? And they're looking for green investments. They're looking for sustainable investments. Why? You want to be supporting companies that, will be here in the next 50 years. And you want to be supporting companies that are taking care of the planet. Because, guys, we only have one planet. I mean, we can't move to Mars, right? So what does it mean for you as an investor? So when you are mindful of the sustainability component of the companies that you're considering, there's a potential institutional support from international investors, and that will help drive the price movement for your investment. So it has a positive effect on you. And also at the same time, you feel good that you're investing in something that's also doing good for the planet, right? And all of these investment products are actually available in GCash. So you can, you can find them in our GStocks platform. I'll talk to my former colleagues at the PSE on how they can come up with the dashboard that you were saying, but that would be really, really good. And if that's available, we'll integrate it in the app for you. For funds, we have sustainable funds also available, so it will allow you to easily diversify. So going back to your question, even as a student or even as a young professional starting out, a lot of fintech companies, not only GCash, to be fair, have made investments not only accessible, but also affordable for everyone. So, back in the 90s, the barrier to entry is so high. But now you can start investing for as low as 50 pesos for local funds, as low as 1,000 pesos for global funds. So take this opportunity. But before you start putting your money in higher risk or in riskier investments, just be sure that you've built the solid foundation first. Start with an amount in your savings account that you are comfortable with. Because in any investment, I'm telling you, any investment, even fixed income, there's volatility. And the thing is, you won't be hit by this volatility if you have enough emergency funds in place. So that when you have that need for liquidity, you won't be touching your investments for the long term. You have that pool in your emergency fund.
When is GCash going to have an IPO? Diba you announced earlier this year and then you postponed it?
Okay, I thought you were going to.
You're on the hot seat.
Well, we really appreciate the interest given by the market for our anticipated IPO. And we really believe that, GCash kasi is nothing without the Filipino people. So it's the Filipino people that made GCash. And kami naman, we're just coming up with more and more products and services to help our kababayans. And when that time comes, here's something that, while I cannot disclose timelines, there will be proper disclosures in place. And of course, where will you get that? From the PSE. Pero this is what we are making sure, that as much as possible, a very, very wide distribution, so that more Filipinos, if not lahat ng interesado to become part owners of GCash, will become part owners of GCash through the IPO.
I suspect that they're postponing it because of the flood control scandal now. And it's very relevant to your question regarding the PSE. In fact, the SEC chairman last week said that 1.7 trillion pesos worth of investments were lost. So he retracted it, but actually there are verified sources that say it's actually more than that. So you choose those companies that are not involved, person that have directors or management who are linked with this corrupt people, no? And also check the sustainability reports, which are now part of the SEC and the PSE requirements. Some are already integrated into the annual financial reports. Thank you.
Sorry, but just to add very quickly, to be honest, you can actually query it through ChatGPT. So search for your company and then look for, say, can you get me the data sustainability report of this company? It will link you directly to it. So use your AI prowess, guys. I know you guys are good at what you call this, setting up queries on AI. Use it here on sustainability.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, ma'am, for that question. And thank you, gentlemen, professor, for taking the time this morning. Can I get a round of applause, please, for our panelists? Thank you very much. So before we officially close this morning's session, if I could just ask everyone to stand up, we'll have a quick photo op. And if we could please ask our Manila Bulletin executives to join us on stage. So Secretary Sunny, Sir Jordan, Ms. Irish, Sir Leslie, and Ms. Len, if you could join us here on stage. Right. Okay, I think we have some space here on the left. Okay, there we go. There we have, okay. So big smiles, everyone. Okay, so while we're getting our photos here, for our next photo op, we'd also like to invite our colleagues from the DLSU. So if I could please have Dr. So if we could please invite Dr. Nelson Guillen, the Assistant Dean for External Affairs and Lasallian Mission of Ramon V. Del Rosario College of Business. So Dr. Nelson, if we could have you join. Oh, there we go. Thank you, sir, for joining us this morning. All right. Thank you. Are we good? Is there anyone else we need to call up? All right. Good. All right. So thank you very much to our speakers and of course our MBA executives and to Dr. Nelson. Thank you very much. You may return to your seats. Thank you. Okay, folks. So we are coming to an end for this morning's session, but earlier, I said that we would have a raffle giveaway. So we have some exciting prizes from our brand partners that we will be offering up to those of you here this morning. So, okay, so listen carefully. All of your prizes can be claimed at the registration booth right outside of the hall, all right? So, first of all, we have two winners from gifts from GoTime Bank. So thank you very much, GoTime, one of our sponsors for today. Congratulations to Brian Kyle Pabalan. Brian, are you here? Yep. All right, there you go. And we also have Julia Francisco. Is Julia here? All right, there. Okay, so congratulations, guys. You got 2 gifts from GoTime. Just claim them over at the registration booth as we head out in a bit. Next, we have from East West Bank. So thank you very much, East West. 15 winners of their gift prizes. All right, so I'll call out the 15 winners. We have Julio Chonco. Julio, are you here? All right, congratulations. Stanley Soriaba. Stanley, congratulations. We also have John Balicoco. John, congratulations. Aryan Ighan. We also have Rafaela Villena. Sian Tan. Is that you? All right, congratulations. We have Fernando Cesar Po. Mary Chloe Laksamana. All right. Lawrence Ko. We also have Jillian Torres, Rel Fernandez, Timothea Ramos, Rene Estigoy, and Depano Alexander. All right, so if you heard your name, congratulations. You are one of our 15 winners from our gifts from East West Bank. Okay, and lastly, we have 5 winners for gifts from HSBC. Okay, so from sila Sir CJ. Okay, so we have Cole De Los Santos. Is that him over there? All right, congratulations. We have Harley Barcena. Ashley Josue. Okay. We have Shalene Wang. And we also have Romeo Bravo. So congratulations to our 5 winners. And again, congratulations to all our raffle prize winners. Okay, so again, you can claim your prizes at the registration area located right outside, and just make sure that you have your ID, all right? So for all of the guys I just called out, just present your ID for verification, and you can claim your raffle items until 12:30, okay? All right? So items will be until 12:30 only, and will resume after the program until 4:30. So actually right after this, you can go out and claim your prize. So folks, that concludes our morning session of the 3rd Manila Bulletin Sustainably Focused Session themed Spend Smart, Live Wise, Financial Literacy Towards a Sustainable Future. Round of applause, please. Thank you. So we hope that you enjoyed our speakers and you picked up a lot this morning, and it maybe sparked some new ideas and conversations that you can have to contribute to a more sustainable financial spending and saving. So again, a reminder that your certificates of attendance will be emailed to you in the next coming days. So for those who haven't registered yet, all right, so remember to register, because if you don't register, you won't get your certificate of attendance. Don't forget to drop by the registration table outside to register with your complete name and email address. Okay, so we are gonna break for lunch and we will resume again at 1 p.m. to continue our afternoon session, because we still have a lot more to uncover and a lot more speakers who will be sharing some very useful financial advice and literacy for us. So once again, my name is Sam Thurman, and I'll see you all again at 1 p.m. later this afternoon. So enjoy lunch, everyone.